Hello everyone, the topic of my oral report is the Hemingway Code, or more specifically, the Hemingway Code Hero. The presentation will be available on Moodle and it is very brief, so I will try to explain it the best way I can in order for you to understand what a Hemingway Code Hero is. So, we will start with a definition of a Hemingway Code Hero. So he is a man who lives correctly, following the ideals of honor, courage, and endurance in a world that is sometimes chaotic, often stressful, and always painful. From this definition, you can see what kind of a person Hemingway hero is, but I will explain some of his characteristics in detail in order to explain how complex this person can be. So Hemingway Code Hero is able to withstand all trials. After he faces too many problems and difficulties in his life, he is able to go through anything. And those trials that he faces are often there to test his manhood, because he has to prove that he is a man enough, that he is not a coward, that he is brave, and that he is some kind of a role model. He is free-willed, self-disciplined, and he's an individual that lives to the richness of life, lives up to the richness of life, which means that he will do anything just to enjoy himself. He is able to control himself, he has discipline, and he has his free will, which means that he can do whatever he wants and he can think for himself, and he does not let anyone push their opinions on him. And he is a person of some degree of a skill, which means that he is a highly competent individual, that he is good at what he does. Also, Hemingway Code Hero doesn't fear death. He is aware that one day he will lose, which means he will die. He is well aware of his mortality, but what he thinks is the most important thing is how you face death. And by not being afraid of death, you face death as a brave man, as a manly man, and you prove that you are not a coward. And often Hemingway Code Hero will on purpose put himself in dangerous situations just so he could avoid death, because he is aware that life is valuable and he wants to enjoy it. And this kind of concept came from the World War I, after the soldiers came back and they realized that Christianity failed to save men from catastrophe. There was the sad war, and Christian values and morals and ethics didn't prevent the war, and those soldiers that came back realized that Christianity failed completely, and that those values they believed in are totally wrong. They failed them. So the Code Hero has to create a new set of values and concepts, because he realizes that there is no afterlife, and he has to live his life to the fullest. So he decides to enjoy his time on earth that he has, and he is aware that life is short, so why not spend your days in the best way possible. So this means that they enjoy those kind of heroes enjoy all kinds of physical pleasures. They drink excessively, they enjoy delicious food, and they enjoy women, having affairs with them in order to please their physical needs. In the novel The Sun Also Rises, we can see that characters are almost always drunk. They drink from the dusk till dawn, and they always eat at fancy restaurants, which means they eat delicious foods, they enjoy themselves, and the men are driven by sex, they want to have multiple affairs with women, and this is what drives such hero. But also what characterizes a Hemingway Code Hero is that he is a manly man. He enjoys stereotypical manly activities. He enjoys outdoors, he likes to hunt, to fish, to go to bullfights, And it is important to say that Hemingway himself enjoyed outdoor activities such as fishing, hunting, and bullfighting, and he also participated in the World War One, which is very similar to his character of Jake Barnes from the novel The Sun Also Rises. And now, coming to the character of Jake Barnes, there is a question. Is Jake Barnes a typical code hero? And there are some reasons to support this theory, and there are some reasons that tell us that he failed to meet a certain aspects of the code. So to start off, why he is a typical code hero is because he drinks heavily. He is a heavy drinker, but he is able to stay in control while he is drunk. He is self-disciplined, and he is always aware of everything that happens around him, even though he is drunk almost every day. And he also likes outdoors. He likes to fish, to hunt, to go to bullfights, and most of the plot of the whole novel revolves around those things, around his interests. And he is also a highly competent journalist. He is exceptional at his job, and he doesn't fear death because he was in the World War One, and he faced death, and he saw all kinds of things, and he's not afraid to die because he knows what to expect, and he is a man. But also, he is not a man in a traditional sense of the word, because in the war, due to his injury, he lost his manhood, which means he became impotent, and he can't reproduce. He can't have his own children, which means that he is not a typical Hemingway code hero because he cannot participate in affairs with women, and he cannot satisfy his physical needs, his needs for physical pleasure. And also he violates the trust of another man, which is the opposite of the honor that Hemingway code hero has, the code of honor, because, and especially he violated another man's trust for a woman, which is even worse because you should never betray another man for something like woman, because you can get anyone, anywhere. And the characters that are the opposite of the code hero in the novel, of course, are Robert Cohn, who is everything that Jake despises. He doesn't drink. He hangs around people that don't want him. He is pushy. He tries to fit in. He's so desperate to fit in, but he doesn't realize that nobody actually likes him. And he is a mediocre writer, which is something that Jake cannot understand. He cannot understand it, and he doesn't like it because he hates everything that is mediocre. And Robert didn't go to war because he was Jewish, and we could argue that that meant that Robert was a coward because he never faced death, and also he found bullfights boring. He said that he would be bored, and later on, after seeing a bullfight, he didn't like it. He was disgusted. He couldn't stand it, but he pretended to be a man in order to fit in the group that didn't actually want him. And also another character that is the opposite of the code hero is Mike Campbell. And the reason why he is the opposite of the code hero is because he is a sloppy drunk. And he doesn't follow the essential code, the essential characteristic of the code hero, because he lacks self-discipline. He cannot control himself, especially when he's drunk. When he drinks, he tends to get violent. He talks to people in a very rude manner, and he's also everything that Jake despises. Jake is not like him at all. And now on the last slide, I put a link to a YouTube video of Thug Notes. It's a guy who he gives you a summary and the analysis of the novel. It is fun to watch because he summarized the novel in a very simple manner, and later on you have the analysis in order to help you understand a novel better and the themes. He also talks about the lost generation, and maybe this video helps you understand that topic as well. And I hope you will enjoy it and have some fun watching the video. And that's it. Thank you for watching and thank you for your attention. Goodbye.